Okay, so everything's planted outdoors, whether it's seeds or starts, and you want to start looking at what needs to be done every day to make sure that my new garden, freshly planted, actually gets established. And this first 2-3 weeks is very vital to your plant's survival. Here are my 4 tips on how to get your garden thriving and surviving in those very crucial first 3 weeks. So number 1, hands down, is going to be watering. Watering every single day, in particular for that first week or 2, is going to be very important in both getting your seeds to germinate combined with your transplants to get over the transplant shock. So if you have things that are wilting, looking a little bit sad, that addition of water is going to help those power through. If you're starting seeds, this is going to help those germinate. A continual moisture supply is very important. However, after that first week or 2 of continual watering, everything sprouted and up, you actually want to back off to watering once every 3 days. This is going to help your plants establish a root system that will dig deeper for both water and nutrients, and ultimately get you through the potential drought or high heats and intense sun of July and August in their future. So a little bit of stress is good. That initial 2 weeks, lots and lots of water. Now, number 2 is while you're watering, you're going to be looking at your plants the entire process. So when we want to water deep and thorough, and this should give you enough time to actually observe what your plants are doing. If you transplanted them in high heats and very intense sunlight, maybe after or during a windstorm, you are going to notice a really floppy plant. This is true if you also didn't harden them off. However, you can bring a plant back from this. The best way to do so is actually with this nifty 5-gallon bale bucket. Some people may think I just collect garbage in the backyard. There actually is a purpose to this device. What it does is it actually provides protection to the plant itself. This protection will protect it against the heat, the sun, and wind, which will reduce transplant shock. So things are looking wilted or stressed out, simply popping a bucket over top of that plant will protect it long enough for it to get a head start. And for me, I use protein powder containers, I use coffee cans, I use 5-gallon bale bucket, and pretty much everything else in between, anything and everything that will protect that plant from transplant shock. Now these buckets, if you will, can be left in place for about a week or 2 and then should be removed after that. Just through that transitional period while you're getting the water up and everything's getting used to stuff, and then you can move on. So the other thing you're going to start noticing as you're watering your plants or getting things ready is potential pest invasions. So these pests can come in the form of flea beetles, which I did a video on. They can come in the form of sparrows, which I have a video coming out on, or anything else in between. If you're noticing damage to the plants, I want you to take the time to identify what's going on and what you need to do to either eliminate that or allow the pest to run its course and treat that seeding of that crop as a trap crop, then actually reseed those seeds in the very near future. So for example, if you have a flea beetle infestation and you're noticing all your radishes and brassicaceae species are getting decimated by it, you may choose to allow those flea beetles to run their life cycle, hit them with a pesticide, actually burn them out, hit them with vinegar, whatever the case is, kill off the adults and get rid of the problem, and then reseed those radishes again. Now you won't be behind. Radishes are very quick turnaround time, but this is a great way to mitigate and establish crops that may be affected by problems like flea beetle. The other thing you may want to think about is actually just giving that crop or the plant some time for the pest in question to run its course and then eventually just reseed it from there. Now the last thing, probably actually the most important out of all of them, is reducing competition. So when we look at seed packets, we are usually told seed spacing and plant spacing. And if we look at transplants, it'll say 1 tomato plant per square foot, as an example. Now, the key here is to actually suppress not only the competition of other plants through the methods of thinning for things like beets and carrots, but also preventing the suppression or the competition from weeds. So that first 3 weeks is incredibly important for weeding. And this means when you're watering, actually weed while you do it. It's gonna save you a lot of time in the long run if you're just sitting there picking at things over time rather than having to weed every Saturday for the next 3 weeks. And this will make it less overwhelming for you, but also a very important process that must take place. Now, I'm going to do a video here very soon on beneficial weeds versus problematic weeds, and weeds that you technically could leave behind once everything's established, that will actually benefit the garden itself. However, in this initial stages, there's no such thing as a beneficial weed whatsoever. And so you want to get rid of them until everyone's very nicely established. You have lots of true leaves in place, and then we can let those beneficial weeds move in and actually play some really huge roles in the development of our gardens. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.